Hi, Simon. How are you?
Hi Claire, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Despite having a horrible cold, I have put a filter on here, so I look slightly better than I would do in real
You look
life. So,
absolutely fine. There's no worries there.
thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, look, thank you for taking time out of your busy day to have a chat with me. But I just wanted to catch up with you really because you've been back a little while now. So, how's it going so far?
Oh, amazing. I mean, for those that sort of don't know me, I used to, as you know, I was with Keller back in 2014 to 2019, and in fact, I was one of the first 14 agents when Keller started in the UK, and
Wow.
I opened the second office in Leeds with Diane, which
Mhm.
was amazing. And for whatever reason, I got approached and went across to EXP in 2019. You always think the grass is greener on the other side. Went over there, and obviously that's a great company, but I think ultimately, I kind of saw the light and I saw what I was missing in terms of the culture. I think culture was a big one for me,
Mhm.
but also the leadership and the accountability. That's really important to me as a previous coach, but also as an estate agent. I find that when I've coached agents in the past, just by coaching them, it's keeping me accountable as well on a
Yeah,
personal basis. And
yeah.
and there wasn't as much of that at EXP, and I just think that that's really really important. And I've seen, you know, I've been back, I think, in terms of in operation, probably 4 to 6 weeks because I did go on holiday, and
Mm.
just in those 6 weeks alone, I would say my productivity's doubled 50%, Claire. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a big statement, and that we can't say that you went over to a different brand, EXP, and you didn't give it a good go because you were there for nearly 4 years, right? So
Yeah, just approaching 4 years, and obviously they have a fairly flat structure there. There's essentially like one leader.
mm,
So Keller Williams presents the opportunity to get back into leadership as well, which was important. But I think there's a lot more than that. I think whilst the XP had some great aspects to it, don't get me wrong.
mm,
One of the reasons why I came back, and obviously you and I started talking, some months ago,
yeah,
and we joked about how long it's take. It took you a few months to get me back on board, didn't it? But
yeah,
obviously I wanted to. I'm naturally a very reactive person. I've always been a reactive person, so I don't mess around. But I think the older you get a little bit wiser, and you sort of stop yourself and say, it's important to check these things out. And I think the older you get, you don't want to be seen to be jumping from brand to brand. And I've never done that. I've always had a long stint with every brand that I've been a part of. So for me, it was really important that I dug deep and I
mm,
looked into, first and foremost, the culture,
yeah,
the current leadership, and also the tech. I was absolutely blown away with the technology. I mean, just to name some of the values that Keller offers in terms of technology, you've got the KW Vision, which is your CRM system.
yeah,
You've got your KW Nurture, which syncs with that, which is a database system that allows to be top of mind in your community for all the people that are in that database. KW Move, which is absolutely mind blowing, that covers your which has the functionality to look after all your rental portfolios, your rental properties, should I say. Um, I mean, I'm going on here, but Keller Williams University,
yeah,
the fact that you've got everything on tap, whether you attend training or not, there's videos for absolutely everything. And KW Create, you've got the ability to create all your digital and all your print everything through that, which is amazing. And then KW Auctions, which is your Keller's own modern method of auction, which is considerably better from a fee perspective than using, say, I Am Sold or Patterson's, who I've used before, great companies, but the bottom line is far better for the agent through Keller. So yeah, so waffling on there, but just really wanted to reel those off because those alone were just mind blowing. When I sort of stuck my head in and had a look at those. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that you mention it because I think some of us that have been in KW over recent years, that these value adds keep coming. Like every single month, there's something new that we develop, we create to help our agents to get out there and win. And we don't talk about it enough, definitely not. And we take for granted that it's there and it keeps improving. So it's only when you've just sat there and reeled it all off to me, that I've gone, actually, yes, because none of that was here when I first joined, and I joined like 3.5 years ago. So we've come a long way, and a lot's changed in that time. So I can see why you could see that there was a good reason to come home.
Definitely. You know, I mean, like literally, I think it was July 19 I left, and none of that was in place. And you know, the culture was, you know, the culture hasn't changed that much, and that was probably one of the redeeming sort of factors that always stayed with me even when I left. You know, I remember the day that I left. You know, we had a big party, and you know that just says everything. You know, that was my leaving day, and they put a big party on for me and what have you. So that was lovely. And yeah, so obviously cultural leadership is one thing, but you know, having the right tools is certainly another. And do you know what? And this is not criticism of Keller Williams, but I'd say the one thing, it's probably a compliment, the one thing that I don't think maybe you've done enough of is actually really got this out there, because I was really blown away, as I say, after I stuck my head into each of these to see how powerful they are, and how probably the best way to describe it is plug and play. You know, a lot of systems with brands are quite clunky in terms of, you know, how you try and use them, and these are really simple. I think that's the first CRM system that I've used where, quite frankly, I've uploaded a listing and I've not needed to go. That's my first listing I've uploaded, where I've not needed to say, oh, I just need to, can you show me how to do this? I did it, and I think Mel checked it and she said, do you know what, there's nothing wrong with it. And just to be clear, I'm not a tech person. You know, I'm probably a 6 out of 10 when it comes to tech. But the reason why I mention that is just to show how well it's been constructed, to bear in mind that agents are estate agents, they're not tech people. So yeah, that was a bit of a highlight for me.
But you know what, it's funny you mentioned that, because obviously it was built based on what the agent said they wanted. You know, that's why we brought it in house. It was like, tell us what you want the system to be able to do, and that's what we'll build. And look, it's still in its infancy, because we own it, so we're developing it every single month. So a new development will come out, and we always go out to the agent and say, right, what do you want next? And then they vote in order what they want next. So yeah, I mean, like, it's constantly evolving, and you're 100% right. We've not done enough in getting it out there. We've just been too busy producing it all, and too busy, you know, working with our agents and making sure that they get into production to actually think about. We ought to let the rest of the world know what it is that we're doing. So that's an interesting point. And perhaps you and I can do a separate video on each of those things and just show people what it is.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, we can. Let's definitely set that up on each one of those, because there's probably a whole discussion on each one really in terms of that. So. But yeah, no, I just think, you know, if anybody's watching this, for example, if you, and I did, you might have seen, Claire, I did an article, in fact, I think you liked it. It was an article that I did on LinkedIn about, you know, if you're looking at a brand, the importance of not listening to other people, because unfortunately we've got people in our industry that put the competition down, and I cannot stand it, because I just think if they're able to, you know, say that, what does that tell you about the type of person that they are? You know, so you know, and I'd heard a number of things about Keller when I was with EXP, not just EXP, but other, you know, in the surround. And I think the fact is, you know, the important thing is, in every single brand, particularly the big brands, you've got human beings, and there will be humans in each of those brands that are not right for the brand, and they probably need to leave that brand, or they've been pushed from that brand, and that'll happen in every single organization. But I think what people do is they'll pick one of those situations, and then they'll make others believe that is across the board, when it really isn't. You know, and it happens. You know, look at some of the biggest companies in the world, Google, Amazon. They'll have their issues with people, and they'll have to let them go. But at the end of the day, they're still big credible companies. So, you know, where Keller's concerned, you know, I think people need to look at it for what it is, not for what other people say it is. So yeah, that I have a bit of a bee in my bonnet about that. So, you know, I think, you know, anybody, not just Keller, if they're looking at Keller, EXP, Remax, any of those brands, look at all of them individually, and don't listen to the leaders of the other brands. Look at them and look at it from your perspective and what's important to you and the values that you hold. So yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? And I think that's probably one of the reasons why you and I hit it off from day one, because, I see that in you and I feel exactly the same. There's just no need. You never see me running down the competition at all. There's no need for it. I'll talk about what we do and what we do well, and it's going to suit some people and it won't suit other people. And that's absolutely fine. You've got to find what suits you and what feels right for you, as you say. So yeah, I think that's one of the things we both feel very strongly about. So
Definitely. I
yeah,
think the old saying goes, doesn't it? Praise in public, correct in private,
yeah,
and I think it's a really good saying. But yeah, no, definitely.
100%.
Brilliant.
Look, so I know you've touched on the tech and obviously some of the things that changed since you went away. And you obviously mentioned about the culture as well. But was there any other reason? Was there anything else that brought you back? Like, what made you peek
Yeah, I
over the
mean,
fence?
leadership is massively important. Obviously, I knew Luke because I recruited Luke, and
Mm,
he's just. I mean, I remember when I brought Luke on board. He was climbing up electricity pylons, and he'd approached me, and he wasn't sure, and if he watches this, he'll be laughing. But he ended up coming back to me after 2 or 3 months and joining, and look at it now. He's building his 7 levels. He's he's capped. He's smashing it out of the park, and he's a great example of not only a brilliant agent who's doing really well, but he's got the culture, got the right attitude, and now he's going into leadership, has plans eventually to open his own market center, and I'm going right back to, I think it was 2015 he joined. So obviously I know Luke, and then obviously having those discussions with you several months ago, and really seeing what you and Mark have put into the business absolutely blew me away. And obviously your market center's flying. So the combination of knowing what Luke's about and what he's doing with KW Leads and what you guys have done with KW Plus, the business has just come on leaps and bounds since I departed. So yeah, it's been amazing. It's been an amazing journey just in the last few months to understand that and now be part of it. So yeah.
yeah, well, it's genuinely is amazing having you back. I mean, I've felt that we've got to know each other quite well over the last few months, and I look forward to definitely getting to know you more. Not just in your business, but as a friend as well. And I'm more than happy to keep you accountable to hit your goals. And talking of which, what are your plans moving forward? What are your goals?
Yeah, so ultimately for me, as you know, I've got 24 years experience in property. I think it's approaching 16 years in estate agency, residential estate agency. But in the last 3 or 4 years, I've ventured into commercial because of my background in the Caribbean. I've got a lot of contacts in the hotel and hospitality industry.
Mhm.
So last year, I formed a company called Global Land and Resorts, which is now powered by Keller Williams. And that's making really, really good progress. We've got some really big deals on the horizon in terms of,
Yeah.
hotels. But I don't want to step out of the residential side because that's my bread and butter. That's what got me here today.
Yeah.
So ultimately, my plan is I'm currently in the process of mentoring a couple of people to, potentially take that on moving forward. And I still want to be involved from a leadership perspective because I find that, as I said earlier, by doing that, and helping others, indirectly I'm helping myself and keeping myself accountable to what my goals are. So yeah, big plans ahead for the next 5 years. So a bit of more of a switch across to commercial, but still keeping my foot in resi.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, we meet every single week anyway, and we go through your accountability. You need to be looking after yourself a little bit more because
I
you've
do.
you got busy since you got over here. But we need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well. That's really important.
No, definitely. And I think I said to you the other day, since I've come on board, I've been so like full speed ahead. The one area that I've let myself go is I've put a few pounds on. I've not been swimming as much, so I need to up my game, do more swimming, do more football, and yeah, that's my big plan for the next few months. So yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
You do know that you've just shared that with the whole of LinkedIn and Facebook, so they're all going to hold
I
you
don't.
account to that
Yeah,
swimming
they
now.
can. Well, exactly. That's the reason for saying it. So yeah.
Brilliant. Well, look, we will definitely do some individual videos about, the different values and the different tech and the things that we have that help people's businesses to grow. Obviously, a couple more things coming that I'll be dropping into your Canva account soon as well, so we can talk about those. But we'll get that booked in the diary and get it out for everybody. But look, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for taking time out to talk to me today. And I'll catch up with you again tomorrow for your accountability.
Likewise, Claire. Thanks so much, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.
Okay, lovely. See you later.
Cheers. Take care. Bye.
Bye.